Welcome back. Today's question is going to be kind of for you parents that are watching. I wanted to ask, how do you talk to small children about mental health issues? Whether it's issues they're observing in their peers or potentially issues they're observing in adults that are in their life.
Mm-hmm.
How do you discuss that with them to build compassion and understanding and just give them tools to deal with it?
Mm-hmm. So I think that's definitely an interesting and perplexing issue for a lot of parents. I usually think starting sometimes, especially when we're a little intimidated about the subject, starting sometimes by looking online and getting some children's books, right, that really deal with the issues. I think if we look hard enough, you can usually find an issue that is similar to what you're working with, and it just gives a forum, right? It opens an idea, and the nice thing is it's written by a person who kind of understands this, right?
Yeah.
And so it's this aid, and it kind of opens the idea of talking about it.
Right.
It's important when you pick that book, though, that the book actually resonates with you, right? It can't be something where it's like, whoa, I don't want my kid thinking that. Like,
I don't like this
right?
book at all.
If it's not in alignment with your parenting, it's
Right.
not going to match for your child either.
Yeah.
And so you do have to look at it. And, I own a number of books that I never read to my son. Yeah, and so I think it has to match, how you feel about things and what you want to work with your children. The other things that I think are important in talking to children about mental health is one, just talking about basic emotions, right? I actually love the movie Inside Out for how to understand
I was wondering about
that. I love it. It really offers kind of the internal structure of how we operate.
We build these emotions and these memories.
And the complexity and the need for all of the emotions, to not just deny that, sadness exists, and not just deny anger, because what often happens for parents is they get really uncomfortable with those emotions. And, I found myself doing that too with my son. I'd get uncomfortable, and I remember talking to him about, hey, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be frustrated. These are natural things. And so when he got to about 4 or 5 years old, and I could tell he just wasn't comfortable feeling those things, I was like, what am I doing? Right? How did I wind up here? And what it was I wasn't demonstrating them.
Oh.
Our dog died, unfortunately, and I broke down and I cried. And that was my son's first introduction to Mommy Gets Sad Too. And it was like, and then he knew how to do sad.
Right.
He even sat in the same chair I sat in the last time when I sat down when my dog died, and I sat in that chair and I cried. He went and sat down in that chair and he cried, and it was like, oh my God!
He just needed the
Look
model.
what was missing, it was me, and so he needed that model. He needed to see and have permission for that experience, and. So I could tell him whatever I wanted, but if I couldn't demonstrate it, I couldn't show it. And
it goes way beyond that conversation, and it goes into what they're seeing, because they can
Mm-hmm.
see. I think they observe more than we expect that they are
Oh.
doing. They're picking up everything.
Oh my gosh, they do. They pick up everything. And another great way of defining that is also just being open about it in the household. Where my husband and I might have previously said, I'm just really tense from work, or I'm feeling anxious about this meeting that's coming up, right? Instead of saying that, we would say, I'd say to my husband, are you scared about that meeting? Like a word my son could connect to, and my husband would be like, yeah, I'm scared.
You can understand.
I'm scared. I'm scared of what's going to happen. I'm scared I won't look right. I'm scared I'm going to look silly, right? And so it was like put in this terminology that my son could understand and could realize, grown-ups get scared. They just call it prettier names, like tense or anxious. And so
I have such feelings of anxiety.
Yeah. And so it was just boiling it down, like that's, I'm scared, or I'm sad, right, about something, and just letting myself be sad, and that I'm not burdening my child with my feelings by crying and showing that I have emotions. I would be burdening him if I was expecting him to fix them. Right. And I'll put a little caveat on that, is I don't expect him to fix them. I tell him he doesn't have to fix them, but your child may still want to fix them for you.
Right.
And
Right.
that's okay. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
it's a part of growing up.
Yeah, it's sweet. It's compassionate. It's like they know how you feel. They've been there, and they want to come forward with that. It's important to relay the messages. It's like, mommy's just sad. It's okay for mommy to be sad. You don't have to fix it. Nothing's broken.
Yeah.
But it's really sweet that you want to bring me a blanket. And that's really
Thank
nice.
you.
And that makes me feel like really cozy and stuff. And it's like, I wonder if you want a blanket when you feel sad, So it's just exploring it, talking about emotions. And, I would use, if I was really, feeling in the dark on it, I would use that movie Inside Out as an educator to those basic emotions because they're all right there.
Yep.
Right? Sad,
and they're even kind of more
disgust,
complex ones because you've got jealousy in there too. And it's joy, not happiness. So it's like even a little more nuanced.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think if you use that as, kind of a base set of the emotions that you can talk about.
That's cool.
And having that alive in the house, not just in words, but in an experience. Kids feel more comfortable talking about emotions. And that's really, mental health.
The basis of mental health.
Yeah, I mean, it's not entirely. I mean, obviously there's cognitions to it too.
Yeah.
But there's a lot rooted in the emotions. So.
Well, wonderful. Thanks so much for joining us.